The rain fell in thick sheets that night, blurring the city lights into trembling smudges. On the quiet edge of town, Daniel sat in his modest living room, clutching a half-empty cup of coffee. The clock ticked past midnight, but he was still awake, staring at the photo of his late wife on the wall. Being a single dad wasn't something he had ever planned for, yet life had pushed him into this role. Father, mother, provider, protector. All at once. His 6-year-old son Ethan slept in the other room, unaware of the storm raging outside. Suddenly a faint knock broke the silence. Daniel frowned. At this hour, in such weather, who could it be? He opened the door to find a girl, barely 17, soaked to the bone, trembling from the cold. Her hair clung to her face, her shoes squished water onto his doormat, and her eyes were wide with fear. "Pleasey, can I stay here for the night?" she whispered, her voice breaking. Daniel hesitated. He wasn't used to strangers, especially not in his fragile household. But one look at her shivering frame and frightened expression tore through his caution. He saw not a stranger, but a child who could have been his own son's sister, lost and vulnerable. He nodded. "Come inside." The girl introduced herself as Leela. She didn't explain much, only that she had run away after a fight at home. Daniel didn't press. He simply offered her a towel, a warm blanket, and leftover soup. Ethan stirred awake and peeked into the living room, his eyes lighting up when he saw the guest. "Daddy, who's she?" he asked innocently. Leela smiled for the first time that night, kneeling to meet Ethan's gaze. "She's a friend," Daniel replied. To the challenges they faced, the first challenge was trust. Daniel didn't know who Leela really was. She carried no phone, no bag, just herself. Neighbors whispered when they saw her in his house the next day. Some even judged, thinking the worst of a single father taking in a runaway girl. Daniel struggled between protecting his reputation and doing what he felt was right, giving this girl safety. The second challenge was money. Daniel worked long shifts at a repair shop, barely managing rent and food for himself and Ethan. Another mouth to feed strained his budget. There were nights when he skipped dinner so Ethan and Leela could eat. Leela noticed, her heart aching at his silent sacrifices. The third challenge was Leela's truth. Slowly, over the days that turned into weeks, she revealed her story. She wasn't just any runaway. She was the daughter of a powerful millionaire. Her father's wealth couldn't buy her peace. He was strict, controlling, and always absent. Leela felt invisible in her golden home, suffocated by rules and loneliness. Running away was her cry for freedom. But now she had found something she never knew existed: family. A warm meal shared in laughter, a bedtime story whispered to Ethan, a father figure who scolded her gently when she stayed up too late. Turning points. One day, Leela's father discovered her whereabouts. He arrived in a black car with bodyguards, furious that his daughter had been living in a mechanic's small apartment. He accused Daniel of exploiting her, of using her as a pawn. Daniel stood firm. "She's not a pawn. She's a child who needed kindness. And in this home she's been safe." Leela, with tears streaming down her face, stood between them. For the first time in her life, she raised her voice to her father. "Dad, money gave me everything except love. Here I found what I've been missing: care, laughter, belonging. You can't buy that." Her words struck her father's pride like lightning. At first, he turned away, refusing to listen. But days later he returned, softer this time. He had seen the change in his daughter's eyes. She was alive again, glowing in ways he hadn't seen since her mother died years ago. To resolution eventually, Leela returned to her father's mansion, but not in chains of silence, this time with a voice. She demanded freedom to live, to visit Daniel and Ethan, to have a real family bond outside of money and expectations. Surprisingly, her father agreed, realizing he had almost lost her forever. Daniel continued his simple life, but now weekends were brighter. Leela visited often, bringing books for Ethan, sometimes even helping with chores. She never forgot the man who opened his door when the world had turned its back. For Daniel, the experience reminded him of something profound: family is not always blood, but those who choose to stand by you. For Leela, it was the night a single dad's kindness changed the course of her life.